So I ran my own custom furniture company for over 7 years, and I've worked with over 235 custom furniture makers in the last 4 years, running their ads for them, coaching them, helping them scale and grow. And the one thing that I faced that was the most stressful, and the one thing that all of these clients have faced that's the most stressful, is cash flow and managing finances. So in this video, I want to walk you through how to manage your money as a custom furniture maker or as a woodworker. This video is going to be immensely helpful for you. Let's dive in. All right, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the podcast. As always, I'm your host, Zach Vaught. Super excited that you're hanging out with me. Honored that you would choose to spend some time to learn from little old me. And in case you don't know me, quick backstory, I started my custom furniture company in 2017, really struggled to get sales, to get clients, didn't really know how to build a brand, and started just studying business. And what I realized was that it wasn't woodworking skills that was going to make me revenue, it was business skills. And as I got better at business, my revenue started to climb. And we got to the point where we had about 7 or 8 employees. We were doing over $75,000 a month on average. All the while, I was actually working full-time at my local church, but growing this business on the side, and ended up selling that company for multiple 6 figures in 2024. And so since 2022, I've also been working with custom furniture makers all over the world, helping them scale and grow. And we've taken so many clients from $3,000 to $5,000 a month to we have clients that are now doing $60,000 to $80,000 a month pretty routinely. And so in all of that, one of the things that I've gotten to have a front row seat to is the stress and the challenges of managing money in a custom furniture company. And when it comes to custom furniture, it's just the nature of the beast. You're going to have great months and you're going to have bad months. And if you are not financially prepared for the bad months, it can really wreck your business and it can wreck you emotionally. Man, I have had some stressful days as a custom furniture business owner, and even living, unfortunately, vicariously through clients that are feeling the same way. And so in today's video, I want to walk you through how to manage money. How do you manage your money well as a custom furniture maker? The one thing I'll say before I even get into the points that are on my notes is that you need more sales. Like, sales is almost a cure-all. If you are just constantly struggling with money, you probably aren't getting enough sales, and you probably aren't spending enough money on ads to drive enough awareness to your brand that would generate enough sales. So that's the first thing I would say. If you're constantly stressed out about the finances, you either aren't getting enough sales or your operations are a mess and you're not tracking efficiency enough and you're overpaying employees for the amount of work that they're doing. Or your rent's too high, or you have all these crazy overhead payments that are eating you alive, okay? That was free. That wasn't even in my notes, okay? But I want to give you some really practical things here that can move the needle for you emotionally and for the business, okay? So number one, the first thing that you need to know as you're trying to really get better at managing your money is that you need to separate your money. You need to stop the chaos. If you are trying to run your business out of your personal account, right? So like this is the account that you and your wife and your family like pay groceries out of and pay the phone bill out of, and you're like buying materials and buying tools, and you cannot track anything like that. Worst case scenario, just go open a different personal account with a debit card and start running everything through that account. Okay, that's worst case scenario. Best case scenario is you go get an LLC or you open an official business and you go get a business account, which is what I would ultimately recommend. Obviously, you got to spend a little bit of money on the LLC, but it's going to be better in the long run for you to separate your finances. Now, we can get into tax strategy and all this other stuff later on, but as your business starts to grow, well, then what you need to do ultimately is you need to start actually paying for some of the things that you would pay for personally out of the business, right? So like paying for your truck payment, your insurance, your phone bill, your internet at home. Like if you're using these things for business purposes, your business can pay for those things, and it can be a write-off inside of your business, which shows on paper that your business made less money, and it also shows that you took less income from the business to pay for these things. So your needs are still getting covered, but you have less total income on paper because the business paid for it. It was an expense of the business, okay? Anyway, you need to separate your money. Every dollar needs to have a job. And if all your money is in one account, you're just guessing, and guessing keeps you broke, okay? So number two, second thing that you need to do is you need to make some type of commitment to pay yourself something. This is huge in my opinion, because some people pull every dollar out that they possibly can out of the business to pay themselves on a month-to-month basis. And this is going to lead to you freaking out when you have bad months because you have no buffer inside of your business account. that is a terrible idea. You're basically suffocating and killing the golden goose. I talk about the golden goose in some of my content. The golden goose needs resources to keep giving you golden eggs. And so you need to leave money in the account to make sure that the account stays healthy and you can weather storms. But if you don't ever pay yourself anything, that begins to take an emotional toll on you and on your family. I've seen so many guys come through the program where they've spent the first year or 2 years not paying themselves anything, and it was because they couldn't. Their systems were messed up, their cash flow management was messed up, and it's like, I can't afford to. It's like, well, there's something broken if we can't afford to pay ourselves something. You know, as your business grows, you should make a commitment to pay yourself 5% of the revenue from that month, right? So if it's like, you do 20 grand, well, pay yourself $1,000, pay yourself $1,500. And this is going to leave a massive cash buffer in the account. And you're still going to be able to show your spouse or your family like, hey, like this is producing, this is benefiting us as a family. This isn't just a thing that I'm doing for me. This is something that I'm doing for us, right? Take your wife out on date nights. You can let her go get some new clothes. You can bless your family and take some of the pressure off the financial side of just your family finances as well. And so, but you need to pay yourself first. Don't wait to see what's left at the end of the month to pay yourself. You need to make a commitment to pay yourself something. Be conservative. I would definitely say this, be conservative of what you pay yourself out of the business. You want to leave as much money in the business as you can until you really have something predictable and sustainable to pull from, okay? Hey, so I interrupt myself for just a second to bring you today's sponsor, and that is Chaseless.io. If you feel like you're chained to your phone, which many of us are that are trying to grow companies, talking to customers, handling new leads that are coming in, Chaseless solves this. And the reason that it solves it is because it handles all of your leads from the moment that they inquire until they book a call or book an appointment. We're going to train Chaseless with you and for you to handle your leads exactly as you do, and it also gets smarter and better over time. So imagine that you had a full-time salesperson that never called in sick, that never lost motivation, that handled every lead perfect every single time. You're going to close more deals because of it, and you're going to get all your time back. When you actually clock out at 5 o'clock, you get to actually be done for the day. So if Chaseless.io sounds like a good option for you to get your time back, help increase your revenue and consistency in terms of how you handle your leads, go to Chaseless.io/WW, and there you can learn more about the product, exactly why it works, and you can also schedule a demo to work with me or a member of my team and check it out and see if it's a good fit for you. And it's a really low cost option to integrate AI into your business and save you a ton of time. So with that, let's get back to the video. So here's the third one. You need to stop the emotional spending. Guys, whether you want to admit that you do this or not, all of us do this. All of us do this. We want to buy things emotionally and we try to justify it with logic. Trucks, trailers, new tools. If you have a 6 or 8 year old table saw, but it still works, you don't need a new saw stop right now. When that table saw goes kaput and you have no other options, then you can consider upgrading your tools. But if you have a table saw that's cutting wood and it's not messing stuff up, you going and buying a new table saw is not going to make you that much more money. It's going to maybe make you 3 to 5% more efficient, maybe. And you spend all this money, you drain your account to go make this investment, and it's not a good investment. You should be reinvesting your money in things that make you astronomically more money. The number one recommendation I have here is on awareness and branding and advertising. Those are the number one places that you can spend money to make more money, okay? Stop the emotional spending. Tools, trucks, and shop upgrades, most of it is premature. Now, for example, like if you don't have any way to spray lacquer, and that's what you want to transition to inside of your custom furniture company, you need to buy a spray gun. Like there's no way to get around that. You got to spend the $300 to $600, go get you a spray gun so you can spray lacquer. If you're still running a 5-inch random orbital $60 sander from Lowe's, you probably need to upgrade to a better sander that can, rip more material off there faster and increase your sanding speed. Moving to a Festool Rotex 150 or the Bosch version of that, right? Where it's a bigger sander, it has a gear-driven mode. Those are really good investments that will actually dramatically increase your efficiency. But you need to spend to grow, not to feel good. So spend money on things that are going to grow what you're working on. Don't spend money on things that just make you quote unquote feel good. Most guys stay broke because they reward themselves too early. So keep that in mind. Build something substantial and then reward yourself. Okay. Number 4 is that you need to control cash flow. and this is probably the most important point I can make in this video, is that most of you guys are just on an emotional roller coaster and a cash flow roller coaster all the time. And you have a month that it's a great month, and you have a month that's a terrible month. You have a month that you make money, you have a month that you lose money. And so you're just doing this, and your finances are doing that, and your emotions are doing it, and you can't make good decisions because you're just uptight and stressed out. And so you've got to control cash flow. Don't treat the big months like they last forever, because they're not going to. For every high, there's a low coming, unfortunately. For every low, the good news is that there's a high coming. You're not going to stay down there forever. You're going to do better. Maybe next month, maybe the month after. But anytime that you have a lull in business, you can usually count on the fact it's going to get better. I've had so many moments, guys, where I'm like, I had 6 employees, and there were months where I went 20 days without selling anything. And normally we were selling like 3 to 5 sets a week, usually. And so when you have seasons of like an extreme drought with sales, it's like, man, I'm never going to sell another custom table ever again. Like, it feels that way. It feels like we just need to shut the doors. This ain't going to work, right? But that's not true. That's an emotional feeling. That's an emotional thought that we have that just keeps us thinking small, okay? So don't treat big months like they're going to last forever, because they're not. Here's what you need to do. You need to build a 1 to 2 month buffer inside of your account, okay? So let's say, for example, it costs you, between your employees and your rent and whatever, it costs you 15 grand a month to operate your business. You need to try to keep your oh crap number, which is a number I talk about all the time. Try to get your oh crap number to about 30 grand. That way, if all hell broke loose and you had to keep the business alive just on cash reserves, you could do it. Hopefully you don't ever have to, but in case it does happen, and there's a strong chance at some point it will, every business has gone through peaks and valleys. You got the cash to keep you alive. And just so you know, cash is oxygen inside of your business. If you don't have cash, you can't breathe. As soon as you run out of money, what are you going to do? And so you can go get a line of credit, you can go get credit cards. And there's been moments in my own business I had to do that, but it's not ideal. I wouldn't recommend it, okay? And so that's number 4. Number 5 is that you need to price for profit, not just to win jobs. And so I see this a lot where guys are they're like, they don't have anything on the books, or they don't have anything queued up in terms of jobs that they're about to start working on. And because of that, they are just desperate to land jobs. So they cut out all their profitability just to get a job to keep them busy, to cash flow the company. Well, sometimes that's an absolutely necessary evil. Like, if you don't have any work and you got employees and you got to be able to retain your employees, well, that might be something that you need to do. But you got to protect your profits. And so just a reminder, if you're running 10% profit margins, which means, let's say you got a $10,000 a month business, you net $1,000 a month. You got 10% profit margins. If you increase your prices by 10%, you just doubled your profitability. So if I sold the exact same products that I sold for 10 grand last month, but I sell them this month for 11 grand, and nothing else about my business changes. Well, instead of making $1,000, I'm now going to make $2,000. I double my profitability by doing that. And so controlling your pricing is huge, guys. If there's no margin, you're just buying yourself work. And I say this a lot. It was one of the most profound statements I ever heard, and I'll continue to tell you guys this, but I had an old man tell me one time when I was working my tail off making no money, he said, son, you can go broke sitting on the couch. And so that's a much more enjoyable way to not make any money than you out here slaving away, working 70, 80 hours a week and making no money. And so profit has to be intentional, and you got to know your numbers. You got to understand, what are my total costs on this project? And I need to take that and divide that by 0.3, not by 3, by 0.3. And if I take that number and I divide it by 0.3, that should give me a safe number that I could price that at. Because even if I don't know my labor, it could be 10 hours, it could be 15 hours. If you don't know your labor, well, there's no way to accurately guess or estimate your labor. I've done that 100 times where I thought it was going to take me 10 hours, it took me 15. I thought it was going to take me 25, and it took me 35, right? You just don't know exactly what your labor is going to be. But if you can price off of material costs, it's going to keep you safe in the sense of you're not going to underbid the job dramatically unless you're just slow as molasses, and you're not going to price it outside of the market to where no one's going to buy. That'll give you kind of a good, healthy metric. So let's say in a table, I've got $300 or $400 in it. I'm going to divide that number by 0.3. It's going to give me $1,000, $1,200 is what I should sell that for. I just use that for easy round math. But if you don't have any profit inside of your business, you've built yourself a job, not a business. And you're only paying yourself for your labor. You're never, ever going to get ahead doing that. That's just like working a W-2 job. If you're only being paid for your labor and not any profits that you can start accumulating or stacking up, you're always going to just barely get by. And so I just want to encourage you guys, when it comes to managing your money, just to recap, separate your money. If you don't have a business account, you're not running stuff out of a business account, go do that right now. Stop this video, go do that right now. That's going to be huge for you to get clarity on the health and well-being of the business. Pay yourself something. Commit to paying yourself 10% of what your total revenue is. Look at your profits at the end of the month. If you're keeping good books, you should know what do we do in revenue and how much profit was there. And then pay yourself a percentage of that. Don't drain the account every month. If you do that, you're never going to be able to build anything and have any buffer in case you have a bad month, which is going to come at some point in time. Number 3, stop the emotional spending. Quit rewarding yourself ahead of time. You got to slow down, reward yourself after you've built something meaningful. Control cash flow. And so this is building that buffer that we talked about of 1 to 2 months worth of expenses. And don't treat big months like they're going to last forever, because they're not. Also, don't let down months convince you that this is never going to work. It is going to work. You just got to keep moving forward. And then the last one is price for profit. Make sure that you understand your margins, you understand your numbers, and you have profit built into your pricing. Don't knock all the profit out of your pricing just to land jobs. That's not a good idea. Last thing I'll say here is making money is one skill, keeping it is another. Most woodworkers never learn the second one. Making money is a skill, but keeping it is another. And keeping it is how you build something meaningful and substantial, and it's how you set your family up with a financial future even after you're long gone. With that, I got a few things for you before you leave today. I've got my free ebook, which really outlines my story, the business skills that I really focused on getting better at that helped me go from really struggling to over $75,000 per month on average inside of my custom furniture company. Click the first link in the description below. I'm gonna send that to you for free. Okay, you just gotta enter your name, email, I'll shoot that over to you. You can check that out, okay? The second thing is the Handmade Hero Academy program. So if you're brand new, you're trying to get some of these business skills I'm talking about, this program is where I teach you a lot of those skills. So photography, finding winning products, testing products to make sure that they're winners, building a Shopify website, and really getting your feet wet and getting better at business if you're a brand new beginner. Now, if you're ready to scale your custom furniture company, I want to encourage you to check out the Woodworking Business Accelerator program. This is what we've been working and doing for over 4 years now, worked with over 235 custom furniture makers all across the world, and we've had some insane results, and there's no reason you can't be our next one. And so if you're ready to scale, this is an investment in your business. If you're ready to scale and go to the next level, maybe you're ready to quit your job, or maybe you've been tinkering and you're tired of tinkering, you're ready to build something substantial, check out the Woodworking Business Accelerator program. And then lastly here is Chaseless.io. This is the software that I built to help custom furniture makers and cabinetry makers handle their leads. I know that you're in the shop and leads come in. If you're running paid ads, leads are coming in and you got to stop what you're doing to handle the lead. Or you're at dinner with your wife, a lead comes in, you got to stop looking at your wife in the eye and having a meaningful conversation. Hold on one second, babe, and you got to handle your leads. Or you just don't. And what happens when you just don't handle those leads is that they fall through the cracks. And when they fall through the cracks, you're literally wasting money that you're spending on ads because you're not handling leads properly. So Chaseless.io solves all that. It's going to handle your leads instantly. As soon as the lead comes in, within 45 to 60 seconds, it's going to respond, engage the lead as we train it to. It's going to ask a series of discovery questions and book an appointment. What this does is it saves you from wasting all your time talking to leads that are never going to buy, and it also allows you to focus on what's in front of you throughout your daily life. It's going to save you time, and it's going to make you more money. And so if you are interested in this, be sure to check out Chaseless.io. It's going to be the 4th link in the description below. You can book a demo. You'll either get on a call with me or my friend Micah, and we'll walk you through the product and how it works, and you can determine if it's a good fit for you. And so with that, love and appreciate you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one.